Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Matty here from Chill TCG. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Grand Finals match from Chill Series number 42. Had about 477 players, I believe, participating. It all came down to these two players. They're both playing, both I think are playing the same archetype here. I'm just going to double check. So that we can make sure. Yeah, so we have Eric Brooks here, and he's playing Mewtwo Dark Box, and he's going against Jonathan Patricio, who's also playing Mewtwo Dark Box. Now, Jonah here, Angel V-Spec, he's actually going to be playing Malamar VMAX. He's got a 3-3 Malamar VMAX lineup in his list. But both lists, of course, are playing the Mewtwo, and they're playing some other tag team options here for attacking options. They got the Moltres Weavile combo, so a lot of things going on in the matchup. So definitely going to be a fun one to take a look at. We're watching from Eric's perspective, and he, of course, is going to be starting with Dedenne-GX, whereas Angel V-Spec here, Jonah, is starting with Moltres V. So you definitely don't want to start with Dedenne. However, Eric's hand does seem to be pretty good. We're going to attack all right off the bat. We see here he does have the Mega Sableye and Tyranitar, Umbreon and Darkrai, Greninja, and Zoroark-GX. Those are kind of the three Dark-type tag team options that we're going to be utilizing, right, in the list. With Mewtwo or Mew-GX or not, right? I mean, we're probably, we might just be able to bench those Pokemon and use them, singly, instead of actually going through Mewtwo, Mew-GX. That's going to be totally up to Eric. But he has those three options. Now, Jonah isn't running that many other tag team options. He's got Mewtwo, and he's got Umbreon and Darkrai, but he doesn't have any of the other additional tag teams in his list because he does have that 3-3 Malamar VMAX lineup. But Eric here, he's going to look through his deck, so he could be grabbing Cynthia and Caitlyn, along with the Umbreon and Darkrai. Now, Dark Moon GX is probably just the most significant attack here in the list. It's going to be that much more useful compared to a lot of the other attacks here, and it's absolutely imperative, right, that he is able to set that thing up. We do see him quick ball away the Dark Energy as well. Could be grabbing the Sneasel. We also have a Pokecom in hand, but getting Dark Energy, at least one here early game in the discard pile, also going to be very good because that is going to be an additional energy attachment for a later turn with Dire Flame Wing on his own Galarian Moltres V. So I think grabbing the Sneasel, though, is definitely going to be a priority. This deck does not function unless you do get the Weavile-GX out on your board, right? So you can use the ability on it, which I forget the name, but move your Dark Energies around as you please. So we're going to be able to Pokemon Communications, or that's what he's going to go ahead and do here. Could be grabbing the Moltres, or could be grabbing a Crobat to draw some more cards. He does have Syncate in hand. He's got red and blue as well. So I think that, for this turn, I think just grabbing Moltres is probably going to be our best option. We have Air Balloon as well to get out of the active on the Dedenne. But I don't think you really want to play too many cards on your first turn, kind of leave things open. It looks like he might be playing the Air Balloon this turn on that Dedenne. You don't want to get Marnied out of, you're really your only way to switch out of the active. So he is going to attach that Air Balloon to the Dedenne, and he's just going to pass, right? So next turn, we could potentially red and blue, which is most likely what he'll choose to do here. But now on to Jonah's turn, and Jonah, his list is definitely pretty interesting. He's got, of course, he's got 3 Sneasel, 2 Weavile. He's got 2 Moltres, the Umbreon and Darkrai, the Mewtwo. But he's also running things like Eldegoss, Dedenne-GX. He's got a Kricketune V in his list, as well as Marshadow and Mew, right? That's some kind of tech options thrown in there. But I think that both players are going to be kind of going with the same strategy. Dark Box has just been a phenomenal list. It's very consistent, extremely powerful as well. And with all the Shadow Riders running around and not a lot of other things to really contest with it, E-Turn's kind of just fallen short. It's interesting, actually, to see Dark Box kind of being the two decks in finals. So, it's not something we typically get to see all the time, but it definitely is really interesting. Jonah there, he does get the Malamar out on board, and he's going to capture energy onto the Malamar so that he can bench one of the Sneasels there. And he's running 2 different types of Sneasel. So he's got the Rapid Strike one from Chilling Reign, and then he has this one that he benched right there. I'm not sure why. Perhaps maybe going with both of them for their different attacks that they can possibly do. We are going to see the Dire Flame Wing, so he does have that on the Moltres. And now we're going to Dedenne-GX. I think he just got rid of a Marnie and a Boss's Orders. Yeah, so, getting rid of 2 really valuable supporters early on in the game. We'll see how it pans out for him, right? I mean, drawing 6 cards, probably beneficial. I know you probably want to set up, in your hand. Set up your hand pretty well going into next turn. Going first, I think you definitely have the advantage. So I think that going first, you have the advantage because you're going to be able to most likely attack a turn before your opponent. You're going to be able to evolve that Weavile-GX before your opponent. Just kind of gives you one turn ahead. It's just kind of how this format is turning out. If you're playing Shadow Rider, Ice Rider, most decks just want to go first because you are kind of just a turn ahead at that point. Top decking the Dedenne, though, actually kind of insane for Eric here. He could red and blue. We could get that Weavile-GX going, of course, or we could just, Syncate, also another option, I suppose. But, yeah, probably going to play one of these two supporters and then Dedenne out. Definitely a great top deck. His second Dedenne of the game. So it looks like he's actually just going to Dedenne-GX because I think you do need to have the Weavile-GX in your hand in order to do the red and blue. Unfortunately, he doesn't have it, but he does draw into it off the Dedenne, and we do have a research off that as well. So we can manually evolve the Sneasel. Yeah, we're looking kind of good here. I think, realistically, we can evolve into the Weavile-GX, and we can research away the Tyranitar and, and the Greninja Tag Team GX cards. We can utilize those attacks with Mewtwo as well later in the game. No Dark Energy that we can get another one into the discard pile with this research, but I think just drawing a fresh 7 here might be pretty advantageous for him. These are two decks that I don't really know much about. I have never really played these two decks. I'm not very familiar with them. But one thing to note as well, Eric is playing the Sabrina and Brycen kind of new tag team supporter that came out in the trainer toolkit, which is definitely pretty interesting. Definitely a pretty good card, especially in this list. But we'll see if it comes in handy for him. You never know. It is cool to see that card immediately in a Chill Series Grand Finals right after it came out. And that might be a big reason why Dark Box has made finals this week. Why both players playing Dark Box has made finals. But Jonah's not running the Sabrina and Brycen. Okay, so he's going to get the second Sneasel down on the board. We're going to see a Dire Flame Wing there. We could attach for turn as well, and then we'd be up to 4 energies on our board, and that's typically what you want, right? I mean, at the most, you can kind of get, you can get multiple Moltres down. But, normally I think you want to get at least 2 energy attachments per turn. He's kind of debating, do I attach to the Mewtwo? Do I attach to the Moltres? Which one do I want to attack with right now? No, Moltres cannot KO the other Moltres. I think it does 210 damage, or no, 190, I believe it does. So not going to be enough to KO the other Moltres, but... I think spreading the energies out is probably going to be your best bet now. In case something get KOs, you can always move the energies around with Weavile, right? So that's going to be pretty important. He passes, and yeah, we're gonna see what Jonah has in that nice 6-card hand. Got off to a pretty decent start, and it's not out of the ordinary. We might actually be able to see a Malamar VMAX attack off this turn, which could be really good. He needs 3 energies on that thing. He also needs to evolve it, but that could be also a really great option. I'm just reading over red and blue now. So, yeah, it's a search your deck for a Pokemon GX that evolves from one of your Pokemon. Put it onto that Pokemon to evolve it, and then shuffle your deck. And then when you play that card, you can also discard 2 other cards from your hand. And if you do, you get to search your deck for 2 basic energy cards and attach them to that Pokemon that you evolved. So, actually really powerful. Interesting that he didn't play it last turn. I decided to Dedenne-GX before doing that. If he were to have red and blued and then Dedenne-GX, he would have actually had extra 2 energies on board. Might have been able to get an attack off with Mewtwo, so an interesting kind of move on his part not to do that. Another thing to note is Mewtwo and Mew-GX isn't weak to Dark. It's actually weak to Psychic, so not going to be much of a factor there in terms of the weakness for all the people watching, if you maybe didn't know that, but yeah. We'll see. We'll definitely see. So Angel here, he gets the Weavile-GX on board. No further energy attachments or any kind of shenanigans like that. Does bench a second Sneasel. And it looks like both players are benching the second Sneasel, and I think because they know if one were to get knocked out, they definitely need a backup in order for their deck to be that much more consistent. I think it's just a priority, right? Even more so than having multiple Moltres on board. So it's just definitely interesting to note. Both players definitely know how to play the list. They have some experience, and I think the Mirror is actually really skillful. We see the Viridian Forest come out as well, so we're going to be able to discard a card from hand and find another Dark Energy, which it looks like Jonah is going to be doing this turn. And now we're going to see the Tag Call. And this is where we might now be grabbing some of these tag team supporters that might be in the list, like Red and Blue, Mallow, Lana, Cynthia, Caitlyn, and Sabrina, Brycen. Although that's what Eric's playing for his support, like tag team supporters, whereas Jonah's actually just playing Red and Blue and Cynthia, Caitlyn. But we do see the Malamar VMAX here, and we're definitely going to be able to get an attack off, which is really, really cool. Malamar VMAX, definitely alongside, VMAX Pokemon like Alcremie VMAX, which were almost entirely useless and non-played until this Chilling Reign format. Absolutely insane just to see this thing in the finals of Chill Series, potentially getting the dub as well. And I think we've actually seen this Malamar VMAX in finals early on in this format, but didn't get the win. So it'd be interesting to see if it got a win this time around in grand finals. But here we come. We might. Well, I think we're definitely taking the KO on the Dedenne, right? How much damage does Malamar VMAX do? Does 180 max jammer? Yeah. So not 180 damage, but he's actually Eric's got to reveal his hand now, and Jonah's gonna be able to pick one card from that hand and put it at the bottom of their deck. So actually really powerful, very similar, to, I suppose, to a Trevenant and Dusknoir type attack. A little bit less kind of broken, but all in all, a little bit more powerful with the 180 damage, and that's gonna two-shot everything in the game. So really important to keep that in mind. We'll see what he decides to take out of his hand here. Most definitely gonna probably be the Professor's Research, although I could see the Pokemon Communications coming in. We're down 2 Dedenne-GXs, and Eric does not have another Dedenne-GX, but he does have a Crobat, I believe, still in deck. So we could see a quick ball away the Sneasel, calm away the Crobat for another Crobat, draw fresh 6 this turn. That might be the play. Or, of course, we might just utilize the Viridian Forest before we do that. So he does have the Crobat in deck, which is good. He's going to be able to draw some extra cards here. Or actually, so he's going to Pokecomb for the Umbreon and Darkrai just immediately off the gate, just so we can get that in the discard pile, and then he's going to quick ball that away to grab the Crobat, so electing to get that Umbreon and Darkrai in the discard pile instead of grabbing that extra energy beforehand with Viridian Forest. But either way, great play on his part. Probably the smarter play. Now we're going to Crobat for a fresh 6. And now we have energy in hand, right? So what we can do here is Viridian Forest away the energy for another Dark Energy, and then we're going to Dire Flame Wings that one back into the list. So again, another +2 energies this turn, exactly what you want to do when you're playing this Dark Box list. You want to utilize the Moltres Dire Flame Wings here, right? So that's exactly what he's going to do. We're going to get one extra one on our Moltres there, and we're going to be able to attach one. We could red and blue as well. If we were to red and blue this turn, that'd be another +2 energies on board. But we can definitely expect to see a Dark Moon GX this turn, I think. So we're going to start moving those energies, all of them, to the Mewtwo. It's kind of what you have to do. It is a little bit of a gamble, of course, because if that Mewtwo does get KO'd the next turn, then you're down to kind of all your energies. But 270 HP, you're not weak to Dark or anything, so you can be pretty confident in putting all your energies on your Mewtwo, and then just kind of taking the absolute KO here on this Malamar, taking 3 prize cards. I think that's kind of the, generally the better play, and I think that's just what Eric wants to do in this matchup, right, is kind of set up his board state, take a KO on a VMAX, get 3 prize cards, and kind of really set Jonah back. Here comes the red and blue, potentially. I think it probably is going to be the best play you can make right now. And he is going to go ahead and discard 2 cards from hand so we can attach those extra energies. He's going to discard the Quick Ball and the Sneasel, grab that Weavile-GX. He's going to evolve that. So now he's got 2, which is really great for backup, right? Just for consistency purposes. And now we're going to be able to put 2 extra ones on board and attach a 3rd there. So now we have 8 energies. 6 on the Mewtwo, I think, is all you need for the Dark Moon GX. Boom. Absolutely insane. Now, I don't think... now, that's just an instant KO on the Malamar. That's what the attack does. But I don't think Jonah can play trainer cards from his hand during the next turn. If I'm correct. Although, I don't know... I definitely need to look into that. Again, 2 lists that I'm not very familiar with. But Dark Moon GX, your opponent cannot play any trainer cards from their hand during their next turn. And if you have 5 extra energies, the defending Pokemon is knocked out. So incredibly powerful. Realistically, one of the best GX attacks in the game right now. 6 Dark Energies on a Pokemon was very difficult, right? But now with Moltres V and up to 2 or 3 energy attachments per turn in Weavile-GX to get those on the Mewtwo, definitely a combo that is pretty consistent like we just saw. And there goes the Malamar VMAX. So definitely putting Jonah behind, right? Yeah, we did take a KO on the Jirachi, or sorry, not the Jirachi, the Dedenne. We got 2 prize cards early game, but now we're kind of just sitting here. No really apparently great attackers on board. And not a lot of energies either. So it looks like, we're going to have to just set up another Malamar. That's really just the main strategy of the list. He is playing a Dark Box deck with Mewtwo and Umbreon and Darkrai, but I feel like you have to just go with Malamar because it's going to be your hardest, your kind of your beefiest Pokemon and your best option. And it looks like he's going to move one of the Dark Energies to the Malamar. We can't actually move that other energy off the Moltres, so that's got to stay onto it. But it's going to be a whole other turn. He can't play trainer cards this turn either, right? So it's going to be a whole other turn for him to potentially really get something rolling. And this Mewtwo, it's already got 6 energies onto it, so now we could get into using the Mega Tyranitar and Sableye attacks, which do a lot of damage in their own right. Or if we have 8 energies on board, so I believe we could start with Dark Pulse as well to do a lot of damage. And I think he's either got 1 or 2 energies left in deck as well. So definitely not a great spot for Angel to be in. I think right now he's kind of surveying his best options, really kind of trying to figure out what he wants to do. Both players are going to be taking their time in this finals. I know that Jonah is a player that definitely takes his time for the most part, so there might be a lot of idle time in this match. I do apologize for that. I'm not going to be editing anything out. So yeah, he's just kind of deciding to pass, kind of weighing what his best option would be, what Pokemon does he want to maybe leave up in the active. And now we're going to actually see the boss, and he's just going to go ahead and bring up that Weavile-GX for the Greedy Crush. Does 190 with resistance though, so not actually going to get the KO, unfortunately, for Eric there. Might have been a misplay on his part, might have been a miscalculation, but I believe with that Greedy Crush would have been the KO, I think, because I think you take an extra prize card if you get a KO with that attack. Let me just double check. If it's a GX or EX Pokemon, yeah, you do take an extra prize card. Yeah, he says you hate to see it. Definitely a miscalculation on Eric's part. However, might not really matter in the long run. I don't see this Mewtwo kind of getting KO'd in retaliation. Although, I suppose. I mean, it's not technically possible. Although we see the red and blue, so it could actually be possible, right? We could see a retaliation Dark Moon GX to KO the active Mewtwo. That would be really detrimental for Eric here. But I think that all he needs is another boss's orders out. Eric is, of course, running 4 boss's orders in his list, so I'm sure he has another way of bringing up that Weavile-GX. Not going to be able to take 3 prize cards with it, though, without the extra energies and the Greedy Crush attack, right? So just something to keep in mind. Interesting, because I think he could have just brought up the Dedenne and won just like that. So definitely miscalculation, but both players playing so late in the night. I believe... this match was played at like 2:30, 3 in the morning. So you got to imagine, just kind of the longevity that they have to deal with, right, when playing in the tournament. So you do hate to see it if you're Eric, but I honestly don't really foresee it being that big of an issue for him. Jonah only has 3 cards in hand. He might not even have any switching out. We do have the backup Weavile and extra 2 energies on board, but it probably just isn't going to be enough if you don't have a switch out this turn. It might just be like that. So we're going to Shadow Connection. He can just retreat out manually, but then he's going to be losing one of those precious energies on his board. And that's just something to keep in mind as well. Yeah, we'll see. So we're going to Shadow Connection here. I'm not sure where he's going to be moving the energies from or to. He might be getting the energies... Oh, yeah, so he's going to move 1 onto the active Weavile so he can get out of the active. I think he kind of has to in order to not lose this game. But he doesn't really have a great option. No matter what he switches into, I mean, it might save him might buy him a turn or 2 of time, but it's just not going to be great. Here comes the Kricketune V off the Pokecom, and he's going to go ahead and grab that Malamar VMAX. So I think that he's definitely going to be able to start attacking again with the Malamar VMAX. The only problem with that is, is it really a game-winning play? You have to take 4 prize cards. You can hit the active Mew, 2-hit KO, or Mewtwo, 2-hit KO it. But at that point, is it really going to be what we need to win the game here? Switches into actually the Mewtwo, and now we're going to Shadow Connection. So, interesting play here. We might be moving 3 energies on the Mewtwo, and I guess we could be going for a Black Lance here from Jonah, from Angel V-Spec. I don't know, though, about that play. Definitely an interesting one. Definitely interesting. Yeah, we'll see. Again, I don't. It's hard for me to put myself in the position of the players here. It's a list that I've not actually seen. So yeah, we actually do see the Black Lance, and because of the weakness, he is going to get the KO, and I did kind of forget about that. While also doing 60 damage to that bench Weavile. So a couple things that I just kind of forgot. Mewtwo is weak to other Mewtwo, so he also could have brought up the Mewtwo to win last turn. There's a lot of things that Eric could have brought up to win the game. Unfortunately, Weavile-GX just not one of them. We'll see if it costs him. It definitely could. He should be able to get 4 energies on board this turn. He does actually have another Moltres, so that's just another option. Although he just top decks the Mewtwo, And I think that's actually just going to be everything he needs to win this game with a Black Lance. So absolutely insane. A lot of things going on here at the end of this game. You just would, you hate to see it, but at the same time, if you're Eric, you kind of love to see it. Could have won the game 2 turns prior, but you know what? He's just gonna top deck the Mewtwo and take the win here with another Black Lance. He's like, you know what, Jonah? I see what you're doing here. Jonah's gonna say that he'll go first, and I think that's the smart play. So kind of taking a lesson from Jonah. He's like, I like that Black Lance play, Mewtwo on Mewtwo action. I'm just going to go ahead and copy that to take the dub here on game 1. So he's what is going on? I have no idea. But anyway, here comes the Black Lance for 3 hundo. He's going to take his last 3 prize cards. Very close match, although it probably should have been with kind of that misclick or misplay from Eric. Ended up being pretty close, and Jonah was 1 turn away, and Eric kind of got got saved there by the Mewtwo top deck. But anyway, we're going to get into game number 2 with Eric up 1 game over Angel V-Spec over Jonah. Let's get right into it. All right, and we're back. Both players getting ready to hop into a game number 2. If Eric wins this game, he takes home the gold. He goes home with the first place grand prize, all the clout in the world. But if Jonah wins this, then we're going to a game number 3. And that definitely could be a possibility. We'll have to see here. Jonah will be going first this match, just like he asked for or chose at the end of the last game. Eric here does start with the Moltres V and a Cherish Ball, Mallow, Lana, and a red and blue. So, it's not maybe the best hand in the world, but potentially we'll see what he kind of draws for turn there. For the first draw of the game, and that might kind of open things up for him. He's actually going to take the mulligan, draw an extra card, but of course, it just happens to be a 4th Dark Energy, and Jonah here, starting with the Malamar V in the active, does get the Moltres V and the Sneasel down on the board, everything that he wants to get down on board this turn. And now we're going to see the Quick Ball away a Dark Energy, going to be an absolutely perfect thing for him here, and we could see Dedenne-GX, that's exactly what it's going to be, so might be choosing to play that this turn. Draw some extra cards here going into next turn. We'll see. We'll see. Does he have an energy to attach to the Malamar or the Moltres this turn? It's the big question. Doesn't seem to. He's just going to Dedenne here, discarding the Boss, the Cricketune, and the Malamar VMAX, actually. Just kind of getting that thing in the discard pile right off the gate. He does, of course, run a 3-3 lineup, so I'm sure he looked through his deck and realized he still had 2 left, so perhaps maybe not that risky of a decision. Does find the energy to attach to the Malamar, and he's just going to pass his turn just like that, so we'll see what... Okay, so Eric top decks the Cynthia Caitlyn. Very interesting for sure. I think at this point, yeah, you got to grab Dedenne-GX, even though you have 4 Dark Energies in hand. You just kind of need to discard some of these cards, most likely if you're going to want to draw some extra stuff here. Interesting that he didn't play Cynthia Caitlyn before. We perhaps could have done that just to draw 2 cards before we went and dug for the Dedenne-GX with the Cherish Ball. He's going to look through his deck, though, check his prize cards. Looks like he's got pretty much everything he needs. I'm not sure if he's missing anything out of this. I can't really tell. Might be missing the Mew. I'm not sure. But, okay, so now we are going to attach to the Moltres. And looks like we're going to Dedenne-GX away 3 of these energies as well as those 3 tag team supporters. It does have those 3 energies in the discard pile, but there comes the second Moltres. So he's going to be able to grab both of those immediately. Or 2 of those 3 dark energies in the discard pile and put them right on his board. We have a Research in hand. We also have a Sabrina and Brycen. So a lot of options going second here. Turned out to be a pretty decent hand. Now, you only have so much board space, and we already have a Moltres and a Dedenne on board. It might not actually be smart benching the second Moltres because we have somewhat a decent amount of time to Dire Flame Wing turn after turn, so we might not need to do 2 of them in this turn. Just might not be the option that is, I guess, needed for Eric this turn. Debating on playing that Quick Ball. Could grab a lot of things with a Quick Ball. He actually benches the Mega Sableye and Tyranitar, which is interesting. Probably just going to be going with that and, and maybe Umbreon and Darkrai. He does actually bench the second Moltres, which is a very interesting play. I think the safest bet for him here would be to not bench the Mewtwo, because then at that point you have nothing that can be hit for weakness, right? And I think that's a mistake that Eric perhaps is deciding not to make this game. We are going to see the second Dire Flame Wings. I don't think that we'll see that other Moltres come down. And it looks like next turn, we're going to have to wait. We can red and blue next turn and potentially get something big off. We could Pokecom, though, away that Moltres or away the Greninja Zoroark. We could be grabbing the Umbreon and Darkrai-GX. Going to be our main option to get that nice Darkmoon GX KO. But, of course, first, before we do that, we need 6 energies on board. So, might not even be worth benching it at this point. And very likely, of course, that we actually see a Malamar VMAX attack next turn. from Jonah. So things could be kind of repeating themselves, just like last game, right? This Malamar might get the attack off, and the next turn we might see the Dark Moon GX attack off for the KO. So I think that's exactly what Eric wants to do. Let's see if he's able to kind of pull it off this game. A lot of things still need to happen. Of course, that red and blue could definitely help, but I think he still needs a switch out, you know? He definitely still needs a way to switch out, and unfortunately, yeah, it's going to be difficult for him, for sure. He's missing a few pieces. The tackle comes out, though, for Jonah. He's going to be grabbing that double red and blue, probably going to be discarding one but using the other, and this is going to be a great play, right? So we're going to be able to evolve into the Weavile-GX and put 2 energies onto it, which is absolutely insane, right? If you think about it, probably the perfect card for this deck. Helps us more consistently get into the Weavile-GX, which is really phenomenal, but it's also a +2 attachment for turn. Very similar to kind of like a welder, you know what I mean? You put 2 energies on, you get to do some extra stuff as well. But I think it's different, but it's got a similar functionality to it. And now, all of a sudden, we have that Weavile-GX on board with the Darkness Connection. I don't know what the heck that ability is called, but either way, the +2 energies doesn't attach for turn, but he's going to be able to put 3 energies on the Malamar, and we could, of course, see the attack from Malamar VMAX. 180 damage, not going to get the KO, but he is going to be able to take a look at Eric's hand and put up 1 card from his hand on the bottom of his deck. You know, I don't think that much of it will matter too much. He might actually end up choosing the energy as well, just to kind of think about it. You know what I mean? He might just do that. The top deck here from Eric, though, is going to be extremely important. Switch out would pretty much mean, you know, almost a guaranteed nice Dark Moon GX attack off at this turn. At least I think it would. Might be doing my math wrong, because we have red and blue. We could switch out. We could Pokecom for Umbreon and Darkrai. We've got double Dire Flame Wings, things like that. So yeah, he's going to grab the energy, because I think he knows that is probably the one card that he needs. He top decks the energy anyway. But you know what? It just doesn't really look great. It doesn't look that great if you're Eric here. No way to really draw any more cards. Of course, we could, you know, kind of go through our deck to find, you know, another Dedenne-GX or a Crobat to draw some cards. But then we don't have the bench space for, you know, an Umbreon, a Darkrai, or a Mewtwo, right, to get that Dark Moon GX attack off. So for that reason, things might be a little bit awkward for him. We might just have to go with the Moltres attack this turn if we can, or perhaps get enough energies on the Mega Sableye and Tyranitar tag team, right, to get some of those attacks off. Just something to keep in mind. Here comes the Calm. He's going to calm away the Greninja and Zoroark, probably the least used tag team attacker in this deck, you would think. The Marshadow he might be grabbing, which is an interesting play. But might be doing it just to burn multiple Pokemon communications. I don't know. Or he could grab the Umbreon and Darkrai. The thing is, if he does this, right, his bench is now full, and he has another common hand, though. So, like, what we could do is bench this Umbreon and Darkrai. We could get a lot of energies onto it, and then let this active Moltres fall so that we could Dark Moon GX the next turn. Could be an interesting option, for sure, but might be the only option for him. Unless he wanted to go with the Mega Sableye and Tyranitar this turn. Should he, you know, he's kind of thinking, should I red and blue first, get the Weavile-GX on board, get some energies onto it before anything? Or should we kind of commit here? I think he's just going to Dire Flame Wing, because I think that's just the correct play. We're going to want to do this anyway. And now all of those dark energies on our discard pile. Oh, never mind. They're still in there. I just forgot. You can't Dire Flame Wing on 2 Moltres in one turn, because that would be absolutely broken. I did forget about that. Not going to lie. But kind of glad that isn't the case, because that would be way too crazy. We are going to see the red and blue, though, and he's going to discard the Moltres, now realizing he doesn't really have a lot of other great options to discard other than a second red and blue. I think that the Moltres and the other red and blue is probably your best bet. You want that energy attachment for turn. Actually, he decides not to, and he's going to discard the energy. So now I believe he's got 3 or 4 of those bad boys in his discard pile. Quite a bit of energies to have in the discard pile, but at least he still has 4 in deck, enough at least to get the Dark Moon GX off eventually. And now we're in a position where, do we bench that Umbreon and Darkrai? Do we, you know, put that last board space up and kind of play the Crobat, or what? You know, what's kind of the best play? For now, he's going to move the energies, kind of spread them out on his board, I would think. or he's going to put them on the active. Could be an interesting play here. Oh yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he's going to decide to do. So he's got 3 on the active Moltres, 2 on the bench, and he's actually just going to Aura Burn. So we might be going with a double Aura Burn KO on the Malamar, and potentially, because since we do have that other Moltres, we could get a late game Dark Moon GX attack off, but kind of a risky play. It honestly is kind of a risky play, but now if you're Jonah, you're kind of forced to KO the active Moltres, get 3 more of those energies in the discard pile, but then you're going to get KO'd by the other Moltres, and then, so you need to start setting something else up this turn. You need to bench another Malamar V. You need to start, preparing for it. The thing is with this list, I think that just having a Dark Moon GX, if you're Eric right now, in kind of the back seat, in your back pocket, is really your only threat to winning this game. But I definitely think that Jonah has the advantage because, of course, he could set up his own Umbreon and Darkrai. He could set up his own Mewtwo. But I think what that does is, you take 2 prize cards this turn, and then, yeah, you can go through a VMAX or a tag team Pokemon next turn, but then you have 1 prize card remaining, and then you're kind of in the same situation that you were last game. And I think that for that reason, he might not end up winning the prize race. We might see a very similar outcome to what we saw last game. I love Malamar VMAX, but kind of, giving up 3 prize cards at a time, typically, especially when you have a one-hit KO move like Dark Moon GX, it just isn't really that advantageous in this matchup. We are going to see the Marnie come out, so that Umbreon and Darkrai going back in the deck. I believe Eric does have a second one, though, in his list. He does. And let's see. So, Quick Ball, Boss, Air Balloon might just be kind of totally fine with that. After this Moltres goes down, we're going to have another bench space open. However, the Malamar VMAX is going to be able to put that Quick Ball on the bottom of Eric's deck, which is really phenomenal. So, Malamar VMAX, that attack goes really well with Marnie, because, of course, you drop them to 4. And then if they do have, 1 out left in their hand, then we can put that on the bottom of the deck and kind of make them draw off the top deck. Either way, the Moltres V, the second one, is going to be able to get the KO on the Malamar VMAX, and he's going to be able to take 3 prize cards off that. So, again, even if he doesn't really progress his board state that much this turn, might still be pretty good for him in the long run. We still I think he also is playing 3 Moltres in his list, so if he had to put a second one or a third one down, this game, he could be doing that. This is actually an interesting play. So he's going to go into his own Umbreon and Darkrai already. And he's going to go ahead and just put 3 energies on this bad boy. So he's going to take the KO with his own Umbreon and Darkrai-GX. He's going to Black Lance. He might be able to set up, a 2-hit KO on one of these other GX Pokemon on his bench. So yeah, we're going to KO the Moltres. Is he going to put damage on the Weavile or the Mega Sableye and Tyranitar? I think here, if you're Angel, you just have to go with KOing 3 2-prize Pokemon. I feel like that's actually just your only route here. But what he doesn't know is that Eric does have a Boss Azorders in hand, and he also has a Quick Ball in hand. So kind of has everything he needs to kind of keep going with this game. We even have an energy attachment for turn. Not that it matters, though, because we do have the Dire Flame Wing. So we're going to see probably a KO on the Malamar with this Moltres. It's going to get ahead. He's going to remove 2 energies from Jonah's board. He's going to take 3 prize cards. The thing is, if you don't want this Moltres getting KO'd the turn after, because then we don't have enough energies to really finish out the game. So here comes the Quick Ball. Sees that he does not have anything in his deck to draw more cards. Does not have any Dedenne. Does not have any Crobat, which is very, very bad. If he knew that beforehand, he would have, so he prized Dedenne and Crobat. So if he knew that beforehand, he definitely would have taken the KO first, but not that it really matters. If after he KOs this Malamar, he's going to have the Dedenne for next turn. Decides to bench the second Sneasel, which might actually be the safest play anyway. And now we're going to take the KO with Moltres. But the thing is here is if we don't take a Crobat or a Dedenne off the prize cards, we don't have anything next turn. Definitely an interesting situation to be in, for sure. There's the Dedenne-GX. Okay, cool. And the Crobat. So he just kind of has everything that he needed to get. And the Mewtwo as well. So interesting situation. Now the thing is here, we can bench that Dedenne, draw more cards next turn, but then we don't have a Dark Moon GX or a spot on our bench to put Umbreon and Darkrai to Dark Moon GX. So going to be an interesting little situation here for him to be in. 4 energies on board for Jonah. Make that 5 energies. 1 energy away from the possibility of a Dark Moon GX. And I don't know if we have another red and blue option to us in our list. We only have 2, and he might be down 2 already. But here comes the Shadow Connection. So we're just going to take the KO on the active Moltres with our own Moltres, and that's kind of how this works, because you do 30 damage to yourself after you attack. So kind of the perfect combo here to get the KO. Not leaving Eric with many options, right? I mean, he doesn't have a way to really get that many energies on board next turn, right? I think we still have a Moltres unless he discarded it. He might have 1 extra Moltres. And now if this Moltres in the active gets KO'd, he'll have the bench space to bench the Moltres and another attacker. But definitely going to be pretty difficult. I think the most he's going to be able to do is... Yeah, man, it's going to be a difficult spot to be in, I think. We'll see what Eric decides to do. I mean, he probably has options. I'm not too aware of what his different options could be with this list. Here's a Pokecom, which is kind of cool. He's going to be able to calm away probably the Crobat or the Dedenne. Yeah, so it looks like he's going to calm away the Dedenne. Looking through his deck, he's got 1 energy left. And, of course, actually does not have the Moltres. So I don't know. Like, I think he literally... I don't know if he can actually do anything in this game. We might have to go to a game 3. Yeah, he's going to go ahead and press that concede button. It just didn't really work out for him. Just had too many awkward hands. Had to discard too many energies early game. Didn't have that last Moltres. So anyway, game number 2, it's going to go to Jonah. So here we are. We're going to set up for a nice game 3. We're going to go into that, ending up being a pretty long grand finals match video, but hopefully you guys enjoy. Let's get into game number 3. I'm pretty excited. Let's see who wins Chill Series number 42. All right, here we go. Eric versus Jonah versus Jonathan Patricio. Game 3, grand finals, Chill Series 42. I've been talking for way too long right now. I'm about to lose my voice, but I'm really excited. I love Game 3s at Chill Series Finals. Between 2 very interesting decks, the matchup here in the mirror match, the somewhat mirror match. I mean, one player's playing Malamar, the other isn't. But definitely an interesting matchup here. You know what I mean? It's fun to watch. There's a lot of good things going on. The hand here, though, from Eric is still a little bit awkward. We have 3 energies in hand. Hopefully that 4th, or we don't find the 4th energy off of the draw for turn. That would be pretty bad. But I think Eric is going to decide to go first. Both players have 1 going first. Eric game 1, Jonah game 2. So it looks like Eric here going first might be able to kind of repeat that pattern and take the win, because I do think going first is pretty advantageous. He might bench this Mega Sableye and Tyranitar just like we saw last turn. I think that he knows Greedy Crush, whatever it's called, might be actually his win con if he does not misplay like he did the turn prior. He's going to attach the energy to it and discard 2 energies with the Sabrina and Brycen. Draws into kind of like a dead hand, somewhat, at least for the rest of this turn. Next turn he can do some stuff, of course, but definitely won't want to discard more of those dark energies. But what he can do, if he top decks a Pokemon or whatnot, is calm for a Moltres and start pulling them out of the discard pile. But you probably don't want to research next turn and put 3 more energies or 2 more energies or 3 more, in your discard pile. Whereas Jonah here, I mean, he's going to bench the Malamar and he's going to attach to it. We're going to see both players kind of going through very similar strategies to what they saw the last turn. The Marnie comes out, and Eric might be kind of happy about that. We'll see what he draws. Only drawing 4 cards here, but a Crobat is one of them, and so is Weavile-GX. So definitely not a bad hand to get Marnied into. We also have Viridian, which could be beneficial for us last turn, and we might be able to draw a fresh 6 cards off the Crobat too. So yeah, definitely not a bad hand to get Marnied into. But it looks like, I think that our red and blue is going to be very necessary here. I think if we're going to want to... okay, so the calm is there. So that's huge. I think we're going to calm away the Weavile because we want a red and blue into it so we can get the +2 energies on per turn. That's going to help us Dark Moon GX a turn earlier. So now I think we might be grabbing either the Umbreon and Darkrai or the Moltres, whichever you kind of prioritize getting on board first. We have 2 of each. And a lot of ways to find them after we draw 6 more cards with Crobat. So it looks like he might be prioritizing getting the Moltres down. I think that you kind of want to start Dire Flame winging earlier because we have multiple energies in the discard pile. So we want to make sure that we can get those out starting as early as possible. So looks like he's going to go ahead and grab the Moltres. We can attach the air balloon to it. Going to give that thing free retreat. And then we might just bench the Viridian and Crobat for a fresh 6. So that's exactly what we're going to do. A pretty nice little turn there for Eric. And it continues. There's the Cherish Ball and Tag Call, which is huge. Absolutely massive, right? So we're going to be able to red and blue. That's +2 energies. We can Dire Flame Wing. That's +1. And we can attach for turn. So that's +4. Unfortunately, that's 6 or 5 energies this turn. So it's not going to be 6 for a Dark Moon GX. Unfortunately, yeah, definitely going to grab red and blue, I think. But, I mean, it's a start, It definitely is. And we might be able to just... He might actually just GX with Tyranitar and Sableye. I think that would get the KO, but I don't know if that would be an advantageous play. Maybe it is. Who knows? Who knows? Off the Tag Call, though, yeah, it looks like he's going to grab the red and blue Umbreon and Darkrai. Probably your best bet. He probably wants to bench that Umbreon and Darkrai instead of benching the Mewtwo, just, of course, so we cannot get KO'd in one hit by an opposing Mewtwo for 3 energies, because that's a very dangerous situation to be in. The red and blue might come out here as well, but we got to kind of figure out what we're going to discard. We could discard Cherish Ball and Mewtwo. Perhaps that is maybe our best option. Or we could discard the boss, but I think you want boss's orders. And it looks like he is committing the energies to the Mega Sableye and Tyranitar-GX, so maybe we might be setting up for a Gritty Crush next turn. To take 3 prize cards on the Weavile. Although Weavile resists Dark, so we can't do that, I don't think. Yeah. Okay. Just something to keep in mind. So there goes the +2 energies on the Weavile. Now we get 5 on our board. Can't Dark Moon GX yet, but we don't really want a Dark Moon GX yet, right? We want to save that for a Malamar VMAX. So I think it's one of those things where we might just kind of... It's an interesting situation. We might move the energies off the Weavile for protection, and then next turn we might just pass, right, and wait for next turn, because then we have a lot more options. We can Dark Moon GX next turn. We can get that 1 extra energy. What we might see here is him use Viridian Forest first in case he gets knocked out, because Jonah does run a Marshadow in his list. So if Eric knows that, he might decide to use Viridian Forest first. I don't know if he needs that Cherish Ball, so just kind of something to think about. Does bench the Umbreon and Darkrai. We don't want it to get Marnied out of our hand. Decides not to Viridian Forest to grab that energy, so we're just going to go ahead and pass, although I think we still have 1 in the discard pile, so should be pretty safe just to get that 6 energy with Moltres V, and I don't believe that we have any way of getting KO'd this turn, even with that Weavile-GX in the active spot, so I think he's probably feeling pretty good. The Tag Call comes out from Jonah, so he's probably going to do something very similar to what we saw Eric do this past turn. He's going to red and blue, get +2 energies on board, get the Weavile-GX set up. Hopefully he has a way to find the Malamar VMAX, because he just wants to start attacking with Malamar VMAX. That's just really his strategy with this list. And that actually could be really good, because he could pull the boss's orders out of Eric's hand, which again would be pretty nice. But I think that he would just go with the Dark Moon GX at that point anyway. So the boss probably isn't super important. Nothing in his hand is actually that important. I think he just has everything he needs set up to Dark Moon GX to KO on the Malamar VMAX, which would be really good. Take 3 prize cards, So we'll see. He attaches the Capture Energy, I think, to the Malamar, or that was maybe the Dark Energy. I didn't see. I missed that. We'll see. I think it might have been Capture, considering how we're kind of waiting here at this point. I don't know what he would grab. Could grab the Moltres, another one. Could be grabbing Umbreon and Darkrai. Could be grabbing another Malamar, in fact, or another Weavile. Or Sneasel, right? There's a lot of options. Definitely a lot of options that he could grab with the Capture. Yeah, so he's going to grab the second Malamar. So he's going to just go with the back-to-back Malamar plays, I think. Which is an interesting play. I think if Jonah can avoid playing any Dedenne-GXs down, then, he kind of puts Eric in a position where he has to go through a second Malamar in order to win the game, to take the 6 prizes, which is important, right? Because you want him to, after the Dark Moon, to go through a second Malamar, which would be a little bit more difficult without Dark Moon GX. So here comes the Weavile with red and blue. He's going to get 2 energies onto it. Absolutely insane combo. The thing is, 2 cards in hand, does he have a way to find switch? But we do see the quick ball come out, and he's going to discard the Mewtwo. So we might be seeing that Dedenne come down. He might have to just bench it. This could be a Kricketune V to draw 2. But no, yeah, he's going to Dedenne-GX. And now this opens up the greedy crush play from Eric here, right? So after the Darkrai-GX, we can greedy crush, and then boom, on the Dedenne, boom, that's, 6 prize cards. So probably the route that Eric wants to go with here. But later in the game, he's going to have to find a boss, and that's really his only stipulation in order to make this work. But we'll see. I mean, Jonah might have missed the switch out here. He might have missed the VMAX. There's a few things that he needs, right, in order to actually make this play this turn. And if he misses any of those things this turn, that could be pretty bad for him. We see the air balloon, so that's one switching out. Does he have the VMAX? He's going to have a Radiant Forest away, Dark Energy to grab another one. So we're going to see plus 2 more energies this turn, or plus 1 more. Definitely a Dire Flame Wing coming out. Yeah, 5 cards in hand. I don't know if he has the VMAX. That would be really important, right? So we'll see. Let's see if he's got it. I'm actually curious at this point. I really am. Let's wait and see. Not much else we can do at this point, but wait and see. A lot of pressure on Jonah this turn. A lot of pressure. Eric has a really great board situation set up. His board is full, right? So that's one thing here, but especially if Jonah just ends up passing this turn, that would be really tough. It really would. But it's kind of like he's kind of backed into a corner, right? Because if he doesn't switch out or get an attack off with Malamar, then the boss's orders would have brought up the Malamar just to KO with Darkrai-GX anyway. And if he doesn't, that boss's orders is going to stay in hand, right? So he can bring it up. But if he attacks with Malamar, it's in the active anyway. So it looks like he's just going to kind of divvy that energy out, put him on both of his Malamars. He might just attack with the V here, which would be a very interesting play. Doesn't seem like a winning play, but might be his best option, considering we haven't seen the VMAX yet. So yeah. There go the Shadow Connection. Yeah, and then we're going to Brain Shake. Actually a really crazy play here. Does get the confusion, but I think he can just retreat out anyway, even though he's confused. Unless I'm wrong, I might forget. Maybe he can't retreat if he's confused. Either way, though, here comes the Dire Flame Wing. So boom, that's the 6th energy on our board here. And the thing is, do we want to just KO the Dedenne for 3 prizes here? Yeah, so you can retreat if you're confused. You can if you're asleep. So, yeah, I mean, it looks like he might just go into the Mega Sableye and Tyranitar to get the KO this turn. Which actually would be the best play. I mean, we could just hit the active Malamar. That's minus 3 energies on his board, right? So that could be a really advantageous play. But the thing is, you're only taking 2 prize cards. But maybe we just do that. I don't know if we use boss yet. We could boss. If he boss now, we take 3 prize cards, and then we kind of force him just to keep using the Malamar, which would just be kind of a 3 prizer, right? Just kind of something to keep in mind. I like the boss play. So he actually brings up the Moltres. So he's not going to choose to take the extra prize card. Might have been a misclick too. I don't actually know. But yeah, very interesting. He's going to discard the quick ball, or not the quick ball, sorry, the air balloon to grab that extra energy, just so we can get another one on this turn. Puts it on the Umbreon and Darkrai. And I don't know why he brought up the Moltres. Might have been a misclick, might have been a misplay there. But just going to use Gigamax Fall GX to get the KO on the Moltres, which is an interesting play. Now we do not have a Dark Moon GX in our back pocket. And what is the full effect of the GX attack with Mega Sableye and Tyranitar? I have to look into this, man. If it has 5 extra energy attached to it, so if it had 10 energies, you just get the top 15 cards of your opponent's deck. So it doesn't actually have an extra effect here. He's literally just going to take the KO on the Moltres. He says, I suck at this game. So yeah, it looks to be maybe another miscalculation or another misclick or misplay, bringing up the Moltres there. Because now we waste our GX attack, right? We waste the GX. Although we do have Mallow Lana, so there's some things that we can still be doing here. It's just a really tough situation, I think, to be in. an extremely tough situation. Might have costed Eric the grand finals here. And here comes the boss. That Weavile-GX is toast. Wow. Yeah, definitely seems really tough for Eric at this point. Might be kind of slapping himself on the head for that play. Wow. You hate to see it. You definitely hate to see it. But, you know, it's late in the night. Like I said, math is hard. You never know. I don't know what was going through Eric's brain here. But just needs to take 2 more KOs to win the game, right? Now we have a bench space open, so, well, that Cherish Ball is now gone, unfortunately. So we're not going to be able to grab a Dedenne-GX for next turn and draw 6 more cards. But I think what we really want here is a boss's orders. We can promote this Moltres. It's going to just be a free pivot. And we top deck the boss, though. Oh, wow. This is actually crazy. So we can actually just greedy crush. Yeah, we can greedy crush here and KO the Dedenne for 3 prize cards. Or we could... Yeah, this is wild. This is actually kind of crazy. That top deck boss might have saved him. I'm not going to lie. Never punished. He's only got 1 boss in the discard, so 1 in hand. I don't know if any are prized, but after this 1 in hand, he's got 2 extra. And that's just something to keep in mind. So this Marshadow might get discarded with Viridian. It looks like that is going to be the play here. Still has a lot of energies on his board, too, just to keep in mind, right? I mean, we have, I think, 9 energies on board, which is a lot of backup energies. Even without this Weavile-GX, we can start to set up things like the Moltres or the Umbreon and Darkrai. But I think we have to retreat into the Mega Sableye and Tyranitar. Thank God we top deck boss's orders. And he brings up the Weavile and takes the KO here. So had to double check because he wasn't attacking with Mewtwo. There was no resistance. He takes the boss off the prize cards. And he takes a second boss off the prize cards. Wait a minute. What is going on here? He has game in hand. He took both boss off the prize cards. I think this was the only... I think this was the one thing that Eric needed to actually have a possibility of winning this game. And he just did it. Just like that. After he top decks boss the turn prior, he takes the KO on the Weavile and takes both bosses off the prize cards. This might be the most absurd finals in Chill Series history. I don't know what's going on. After both of these misplays, I think that Eric probably should take the L here in Game 3 of Grand Finals, but I think taking those 2 prize cards there might have just bought him out. You don't know, though. We don't know, right? Because Jonah here, we could see, although no, we see the Syncate, so there's no Marnie coming out this turn. A Marnie would have won him the game. He's going to Syncate, bring boss back. I don't think he's got Reset Stamp in deck. He actually does. He has 1 Reset Stamp. So if we see the stamp here, Eric's win could get ripped from his hands right now. But if we don't see any hand disruption, Eric just has it. He just has it going like that. So here comes the Pokecom away Weavile-GX. I don't know if Jonah is digging for that Reset Stamp. It could be prized. He's got 4 prize cards left as well. So just another thing to keep in mind here. If Eric comes away with this win, I don't know. It's the gods were looking down on him, giving him all their blessings. But yeah, man, maybe the most ridiculous outcome or just situation that has ever been found or seen in a grand finals match. I cannot believe what I'm watching. And yeah, we're just going to see the Max Chamber come out. And unfortunately, Jonah's just going to see that his destiny is right before his eyes. Yes, after the boss last turn, we have 2 more in hand. And he knows that boss that he took out of the hand, we still have 1 left. And there it is. Eric wins Chill Series 42 off of the most absurd top deck and double prize card take of all time. Triple, just triple boss for game. Like, I don't know what's going on anymore. Anyway, guys, what in the world? Okay, guys. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I've been Matty from Chill TCG. I hope you guys enjoyed that Grand Finals match. Maybe the most strange Grand Finals I've ever seen. Entertaining nonetheless. Big shout out to Jonathan Patricio and big shout out to Eric for somehow pulling away with that win. But you guys have a great day. We'll see you guys tomorrow for more coverage of Chill Series tournaments. Okay, I'm gonna get out of here. You guys have a good day. We'll see you guys later.